Since we love to be growing Wisconsin here at Fortifi Bank, I'd love to give you a housing market update as to where we're at as we get to the end of the first quarter here in 2023. And the reality is, it's pretty good news overall for Wisconsin. Yeah, there's some things that are really good. There's some other things that are a little bit mixed and maybe not so good, but we'll give you a little bit of everything. So to start with the good, here in Wisconsin, the current median sales price is just over $260,000 for a home. Now, where does that compare to the rest of the nation? It's about $100,000 less than the average of the rest of the nation, which makes sense. Here in the Midwest, we're a little more conservative. The values aren't quite as high. But as far as how it deals with what we've seen in the past, it's pretty good. If you want to look back to pre-pandemic levels, so we're talking February 2020, $260,000 is about $60,000 more than it was at that time. That's a lot. That's some huge growth. Where does it compare to the last year or so? Well, it came down from the peaks of what we saw maybe in the middle of last summer. But year over year, if you look back to February of last year, it's about 8% higher. So in that vein, we're doing okay. I really actually like the way we're growing. We're seeing good appreciation, and we're sticking strong despite the fact that mortgage rates are higher than they've been for quite a while. The number of homes for sale, not enough. Not even close to enough. Right now in Wisconsin, there's a little bit over 12,000 homes for sale. Where does that compare? Well, a couple things to consider here. The time of the year matters, okay? When we look at things and we see how many homes are out there for sale, generally speaking, we see a graph that looks something like this. And what that means is that during the summer months, there's more. During the winter months, there's less. A lot of that has to do with, guess what? It really stinks to move in Wisconsin in the middle of winter. And people choose to do that. So they say, I'm not going to put my house up for sale. Some of it's market related, but every year you can see it. If you look over any period of time, you're always going to see that sway in the way that things happen. The hard part is, right now, we're lower than our lowest lows. So every time we see that in the winter, we see it go down. You get to that low. Right now, we're really low. We're talking just a little bit over 3,000 homes have sold in the last month. It's not enough. We don't have enough homes out there. We're not selling enough because we don't have enough. So it's directly related. It's like people are, hey, homes aren't selling. Well, there literally isn't anything to sell. And I think any realtor would probably tell you that as well. It's really hard to get a listing because they just don't have the ability to sell them. The other thing is our months of supply is another number that we always look at. Currently, our months of supply of homes, meaning that if you took the homes that were sold right now, how long would it take to sell them if you didn't have any other homes that popped up on the listing? Currently, that's less than 3 months. So within 3 months, all those homes would be gone. That's not a comfortable place to be either. Typically, you like to see that just shy of maybe 5 months, something like that, because you want homes to move, but you want them to be able to move fairly quickly. So even though we're seeing like the normal transition of time that we have in the seasons, we're lower than we want to be for sure. Almost all the homes are being sold at their list price or higher. 35% of them at this time are being sold above their list price. That's really good. That's awesome. There was a time period last year and in 21, 22 that it was about 60% of homes were going higher because people were panically going after that. And that makes sense because of the mortgage rate market and things like that. Rates aren't that as great as they were before. Although I'll tell you, they're not awful. 6.5 isn't bad for a 30-year fix. It's really not. But we're definitely seeing people continue to get their price that they want. Only about 10% of the homes that you had out there had to have a price drop of any type. Maybe they just priced it too high to begin with. So it might not even be a case of like, we had to come down. Maybe they just really wanted to go after it. That's okay. And 99% are getting their list price or higher. That's really, really good. And what that tells you is that our realtor friends, we love to work with all the time, they're doing a great job of pricing that stuff too. Any realtor will tell you that, hey, I could sell your house if we price it appropriately. But if you want pie in the sky prices, you're probably going to struggle a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit of what the future looks like and something that actually makes me a little nervous as a professional in this industry and knowing what's happening with housing here in Wisconsin. Right now in Wisconsin, we have just shy of about 6 million people, our population, okay? They're saying in all analytics that they look at is that Wisconsin, by the end of 2030, is going to have about 6.4 million people. The question is, where are all these people going to live? And the answer is, I don't know. So let me give you some context on that. We already have a current shortage as we kind of talked about, there's not enough homes for sale, things like that. And analytics would tell us that we need at least 140,000 extra units right now to kind of take care of our people. If you're going to factor in like additional working, like age population people, you need an additional 90,000 above that. So that's 230,000 units. So how are we doing and how can we get there? One, I don't know, but I'll tell you where we are right now. The last 2 years, we've built about 12,000 single-family homes here in the state of Wisconsin. So each year, 12,000 this year, 12,000 next year, that's about 21 and 22. Each year, we build 12,000. Sounds okay, right? Now, remember my figures. We have 7 years to get to that number that we need to get to. 7 years times 12,000, that's 84,000. You might say like, well, let's ramp it up. Do you know any contractors? Do you know any builders? My guess is they're really busy. In fact, they'd probably tell you, I'm scheduled out till 2024, or I'm scheduled out to 2025. So I don't think we have builders that are just sitting around waiting for people to build homes. I don't know how we're going to get there. But the reality is 12,000 a year isn't going to get it done. So I'm excited about Wisconsin growing, but I'm also really nervous. And here's what I'd say. If you see a development happening, if you see a multifamily building being built, if you see a small conclave of a subdivision or whatever it is, that's good for us. We need that here in Wisconsin. We need housing so bad for people. I'm excited about where Wisconsin's going. It is an awesome place to live. We have great resources here. We have great people here. And we love when people are coming here are hardworking individuals. But I am nervous about our housing and what we're coming forward. But we'll see what happens. And in the meantime, feel free to get out there and build a house.